worst teacher you've ever had? In middle school, I had a science teacher named Mr. Howell. Everyone loved him. He wore mismatched socks, played guitar on Fridays, and made jokes about farting during volcano lessons. He called us by nicknames and brought his dog to class once. You couldn't find a single kid who had a bad thing to say about him, except me. At first, I liked him too. I thought he was fun. I laughed along with everyone else and didn't notice how often he looked through me when I raised my hand, or how his jokes sometimes came with a twist. One day, I brought in a project I worked on all weekend, this big trifold about renewable energy. I was proud of it. I even printed out charts and glued real leaves to the corners. When I presented, he smiled and said, "Wow, someone got help from their parents," then moved on before I could say anything. I didn't think much of it. Maybe he was trying to be funny, but it kept happening. Every time I answered a question correctly, he'd make a face and say, "Even a broken clock is right twice a day." If I stumbled, he'd fake yawn and say, "Anyone else want to try?" He called me encyclopedia, but not in a nice way, more like a punchline. The others laughed. They always laughed. And I started laughing too, just to keep from feeling humiliated. I laughed when he pretended to fall asleep during my presentations. I laughed when he gave me a B- on a test and said, "Looks like your brain finally woke up." Then came the science fair. I built a working model of a wind turbine, spent 3 weeks on it, learned how to solder, printed diagrams. I knew it wasn't flashy, but I believed in it. I remember wheeling it into the gym with shaky hands and standing beside it in my best button-up shirt. When Mr. Howell walked by, he didn't even stop, just glanced over and said, "That's ambitious. Hope it doesn't fall apart." It didn't fall apart. It worked perfectly. But when the ribbons were handed out, I got nothing. Not even a mention. The winning project was a volcano that exploded red glitter. I tried not to let it crush me. I told myself it didn't matter. But the next week, when someone asked why I didn't win, Mr. Howell chuckled and said, "Judges don't usually go for show-offs." That's when it clicked. It wasn't about the science, or the work, or me messing up. It was about me not fitting the type of kid he liked. I wasn't loud. I wasn't funny. I didn't play along with his games. I was just there. And to him, that meant I was disposable. Years later, I went back to visit my old school with some friends. We peeked into the science hallway, and someone joked, "Remember Mr. Howell? What a legend." I smiled and nodded.